welcome to Shul.com. We are learning Parashat Balak, and we are reading from Otzad Pilaut HaTorah. And the question today is on Parashat Balak is, why is the name Parashat Balak? He seemingly looks like a wicked person. He wants to hire this guy Bil'am in order to curse the Jewish people, and we put a parasha in his name. Let's take a look what it says here. First, the pasuk is Vayar Balak ben Tzipor et kol asher asa Yisrael la'emori. It's kaf bet dash bet. Peli'ah niskeva hi sheparashat zo nikret al shem Balak harasha betzorel Yehudim. It's very interesting. It's that he's a wicked person. He wants to destroy the Jewish people, and we named the parasha after him. Vayarei ala pasuk, and it says in Mishle Yud dash Zayin b'shem reshaim yirkav, that the name of the wicked is going to deteriorate. Amru Chachamenu Zal b'Masechet Yoma. It says in Masechet Yoma, page 38, Amud Bet, de kvivot ta'ale bishmotan, de lo maskinan bishmaihu. Uperesh Rashi. Rashi says over there, lo yikra adam livno shem adam rasha. You shouldn't name any of your children, and of course grandchildren, if you could, never name them a wicked name. Always name them people that are righteous. Mikol sheken. So if you can't name your children a wicked name, why would the Torah want a name like this in the Torah? And by the way, just before we continue, as a very important side note, this entire story was not known to anybody. This was a prophecy that Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu that happened. As a byproduct, there was the issues of the Arayot with MOAV, but with not MOAV and Midian, but this story wasn't known. Hashem told them through a prophecy, oh, by the way, you should know there was someone that was about to kill the entire people, and he was very, very close, and he was almost very successful in doing it, and it was prevented. In this book, Birkat Abraham, that was written by B. Abraham Shapira, Bechol HaPereshot sheBatorah yesh chamesh shenikrot al shem Adam. He writes here 5, but I counted 6. But I'll show you what I mean. He says there's 5 that are named after a person. Ve'eluhin Noach, Yitzro, Korach, Balak, and Pinchas. He writes 5. But I also said Chaye Sarah, so 6. I mean it's there. Yeah.
Chaye Sarah, it's just saying the left for Sarah. That's why I didn't put in there. If it would have only said Sarah, then he would have put it in there.
Yeah, so I thought about that. You're right. I thought about that as well. That because he put Chaye Sarah, that he probably didn't. But either way, but what he has, his point still makes sense. So on all these 5 or 6, the 4 of them, he says, are merit this big kavod. Interesting that he includes Korach in it in this book Birkat Avraham, that he gets this special kavod. Because there were tzaddikim and gedolim in the Torah, he writes on them. Unbelievable. Aval Balak harasha. He goes, but this wicked guy Balak, shem Yisrael, he wanted to destroy the entire name of Israel. Ubikesh la'akor et hakol. And his intention is to completely eradicate all the Jewish people. Why is he getting all this honor in the Torah? The Torah, by the way, could have told us the story by giving him a kinui. A kinui is like maybe President Melech LeMoav, but don't tell us his name. Give us his name in the Midrash. Why'd you, or tell us, bring us a Rashi. Tell me there's a Rashi, his name was Balak. Well, we don't know the name of a lot of people. We don't know the name of Noach's wife. We don't find the name. They come up in Midrashim in different places, but there's a lot of names of people in the Torah that don't come up. Why is it coming in the Torah? Why are you going out of tell me? You could have told me this in so many ways. By the way, Paro. By the way, as a side note, we don't know Paro's name. Paro is not his name. Paro is the name like president or prime minister. Till today, we still use the word pod in the name, but it's still around. So we don't actually know that his specific name, and we can look it up. Why did he get it? What did he do? And it's interesting because we're going to learn a lesson from this. We're not just going to pinpoint that we're learning, okay, well, his name, okay, big deal. Every time we sit down here, we're coming to walk away with a lesson in order to improve our life. So let's see. Shetikra parasha shelema shebatorah al shemo. You named the entire parasha after him. Really, the name of the parasha should have been Bil'am, because really Bil'am is the prophet in the entire parasha. If you look in throughout, Lefishu hoya navi al shamru alav chachamenu. Not only was a prophet, the chachamim write in Sifrei Parashat Beracha, in the Sifri Parashat Zot Beracha, Shaya Gadol ben Nivuah k'Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom. He was as big as Moshe. There's a reason for this. Ubifra shekol haparasha hazot mil'am menivot Bilam. And really, the entire parasha is Bilam. So why didn't they call it Bilam? Listen, he speaks to his donkey just like in Shrek. No, he's the Aton. By the way, I wouldn't be surprised if the story of Shrek was based on him, in Agar, like Bilam, whatever. Umiyashev Shem al pi ma'amram, like it says in Masechet Sotah, page 47, Amud Aleph. שבשכר 42 קורבנות שהקריב בלק מלך מואב זכר ויצא ממנו רות. Wow! You see this Gemara? This Gemara says, you know why Balak ended up having a granddaughter that was Ruth HaMoaviyah? Because he brought 42 korbanot and sacrifices. שיצא ממנו שלמה, later on Shlomo HaMelech came out of Ruth. שעליו נאמר 1,000 עולות יעלה שלמה. It says that Shlomo HaMelech brought 1,000. I think it was even in one day that he brought 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. Where did the root come that he was able to do such a task of giving this? And by the way, bringing these sacrifices is not just you saying, hey, take those animals and put them on. It seems that every one of these sacrifices required intent, work, mental work, spiritual, intense focus, of a sort that it wasn't that simple that, hey, just get 1,000 bulls. If that was the case, it was just only a financial. It wasn't a financial. There was also, and where did he get this Shlomo HaMelech? It tells us here from the Gemara in Sotah that he got it from his great-grandfather Balak. Unbelievable. Ume'ata lo kasha kashe midi. Now it's not so difficult to understand why the parasha is named that. She'im b'shvila korbanot zacha Balak she'asam min Ruth. Because he brought these 42 sacrifices, these korbanot, he had this granddaughter Ruth, and from her came the entire kingdom of Malchut Bet David, David HaMelech, which we are waiting till today of the Mashiach ben David. That from her is also going to come the Mashiach. Shuv en litmoa klal she'parasha nikret al shmo shel Balak. So now it's not so difficult to understand why he should be called Balak, because we're kind of telling you he did something so great, which we don't really understand, or at least it's not well taught or spoken about. What this guy was a very wicked person. He was giving korbanot in a way in order to appease God.
Why was he so wicked?
He was wicked because
What did he do?
he wanted to hire Bil'am in order to curse the Jewish people so that they are completely eradicated, using Ayin Hara and using Kishuf and black magic and voodoo and all those type of things. Because it says that God doesn't remove the reward from every single creature. Meaning anyone who does any good, including a person like Balak, that is a bad guy, if he does something that's good, that's going to reward him, that he's going to have a child that's called Ruth, Hashem is going to reward him, it's fantastic, because we see this same thing with Lavan Arami also, where he rewards Lavan also with daughters, 4 daughters, mind you, Rachel and Leah from one wife, and Bilhan Zilpah from other Pilagshim, which is unbelievable. This entire thing, or Shefachot. V'lashim meshalem kol secharam ba'alam hazeh b'chtei letordam ma'alam haba nitzchi. And for the wicked people, he gives them their entire reward in this world in order to remove any future reward in the world to come. Which is interesting. We don't understand what these korbanot were.
So they don't get rewarded in the world. No, only here.
Only here. Rashaim get the reward here.
Right.
And there's a whole discussion, Lama Sadik Veralo, Rasha Vetovlo, that's a whole other class as to why sometimes you see wicked people prosper, or sometimes you see wicked people not prosper, and righteous people suffer. There's a whole discussion on that. Shub Matzati, Shegam, Harav Rabbi Meir Mipar Mishlan, Ahmad al-Timihazo. So this other rabbi had a question. In his book, Divrei Meir, Nitpas bi'uro b'derech sachut, al pi ma'amar chachamenu. He says, like it says in Sifri, Parashat Be'alotecha, Piska, number Samechtet. Halacha biyadua she'esav shoneh leYaakov. This is Gemara. He says from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that it is a halacha. It's a law that Esav hates Yaakov. Esav and his descendants hates the descendants of Yaakov. V'hine Balak ba b'kiyem halacha zo b'tachlit hashlemut. And this guy Balak, when he came and he tried to do what he did, he was following the halacha exactly like it says. It doesn't say minhag or it says halacha. So he was doing like the halacha states. Sharei af al pi sheyada Balak hetev shenisaru bnei Yisrael al tatzar et MOAV. Even though Balak knew that already Moshe Rabbeinu got the prophecy that al tatzar et MOAV, don't go near MOAV. Meaning, when it came to Ammon and Moab, Hashem said, don't go near their land. Don't go near them. Don't bother them, and in order to fight them. So he had no fear. What was his fear? Meaning, why, Balak, why are you going out of your way to curse these people? They're not even a threat to your kingdom. They're not going to overthrow you in a coup d'etat. They're not coming to take your territory. God, you know that God already gave them a prophecy that because they descended from Lot, that God wasn't going to give the children of Abraham Lot's territory. Don't worry, it's nothing to be to worry about. Right. Why are you going out of your way to curse them? So he says he's following the halakha, like it says, halakha biyadua. Okay, v'lo haya lo mipnei afa piken sachar et Bil'am lekelel bnei Yisrael. Even though he went and he paid Bil'am, he paid him not just as a favor. He went out of his way to make a hole in his pocket in order to curse him. Halachot goy behidur, in order so that he follows the halacha of a goy in hidur, in its splendid way, like a goy is supposed to. It's unbelievable how he says this. Erlich goy, he says. He was an erlich goy. Shekiyem et halacha b'tachlit hashlemut. Bedin hu she'itol secharon v'tikra parasha al shlemo. And so by following this halacha properly, that he had no purpose in order to do what he was trying to do, and he tried to do it, and God saved us because of the halakha b'dur she'asav sonei leYaakov. He followed the halakha properly, so his reward is that we have a halakha after him, not just the first one. So the second reason, that unbelievable. Ur'eh ma she'eveti parashat Shemot, שגם השם משה נבחר על ידי הקדוש ברוך הוא מכל שמותיו של משה רבנו לשימוש. That Moshe was one of many names that he had, and that was the name that he got kept. אף על פי שנקרא כן על ידי בתיה, or Bitya, בת פרעה. Even though Bitya calls him this name, why does he keep Moshe? Why doesn't he keep the other names? Maybe Yocheved gave him a different name. Possible. Right? It seems like that was the case. והוא משום הכרת הטוב על מה שהיא הייתה זאת שהצילה והוציאה אותו מן האור במצרים. Because of הכרת הטוב, she got to name him. Unbelievable. Not Jewish, Bitya, but there wasn't yet Jews, but it seems like. ועיין מה שם שהבאתי עוד דוגמאות של יד ושם שעשו גדולי ישראל להראות הכרת הטוב שבליבם לאלו שהיטיבו להם. And he said, I brought many cases in the past of Gedolei Israel that because of Hakarat HaTov, of things that good people did to them, they kept, especially, this is what made them Gedolim. When people care about Ketanim, that's what makes them Gedolim, not on knowledge. Gadol is not on knowledge alone. It's on how much they care about Klal Yisrael. Kedugmat Rashi, like Rashi says, Umaharsha ve'od, al derech ha'hanaga sheba mitnaheg Hashem yitbarach. That's how Hashem yitbarach acts. K'mo shneimar hetiva Hashem latovim ve'lisharim belibotam. Like it's in Tehillim 125-4. ומדי דברי בעניין הזכייה שהיא לבעלה שתקרא פרשה אחת על שמו. Now back to this question on naming the parsha on his name. אציין מה שכתב רש"י על הפסוק, like it says in Rashi, ארץ בני עמו, in pasuk Hey, על זה שזכה בלעם הרשע למעלת הנבואה, that also that בלעם הרשע got to this tremendous level of prophecy, והוא כדי שלא יהיה פתחון פה לאומת העולם. Why? So that the other nations of the world don't have a claim on us, on the Jewish people. וזה לשון רש"י, like he says, ואם תאמר, פנימה הישרה הקדוש ברוך הוא שכנתו על גוי רשע, why did God give Balaam this power? That he's able to curse, that he's able to have this prophecy, that he knows this level of magic, that he's able to do this in control metaphysical ways, or to even understand them. What was it? Why was this? כדי שלא יהיה פתחון פה לאומות העולם. That the other nations of the world will never be able to open their mouth. לומר, אילו היו לנו לוויים חזרנו למוטב. If you would have given us prophets like you gave Moshe Rabbeinu, Yeshaya Nevi, Hezkel Nevi, Isaiah Sobeh, you gave us like them, we would have done the same. So Hashem said, oh really? I'll give you Balaam. Balaam is the same like Moshe, if not even more than Moshe. העמיד להם נביאים והם פרצו גדר העולם. And even with their prophets, they went and they did terrible things. שבתחילה היו גידולים בעריות. In the beginning, before their prophets, they were careful with arayot and illicit relations. וזה נתן להם עצה להפקיר עצמן לזנות. And once they got prophets, they ended up doing worse things with arayot, but they used their prophets as a medium in order to get that approval, which is unbelievable because their prophets had real prophecy. So it was real. You have to understand.
But
God,
how could they do bad things?
So they did, but it's interesting because Hashem, Zeh lu'umat zeh asa Elohim. God, as He does for the good, He does for the evil.
Prophets have free will?
And absolutely, it seems from here absolutely that the prophets only that they could be wicked. They could be using prophecy. We don't have prophecy today. There might be levels of Ruach HaKodesh if someone can gain him, but we don't have this, and it's unbelievable. Sometimes we talk about these characters, and we have to understand that these were holy. If people were to see a person like Balaam today, they would think he was a righteous person, just like if they saw Esav HaRasha. Esav HaRasha probably had a long beard, long peot, black hat, wore long strimal or long coat. No one in his life would have ever saw Esav and assumed he was a Rasha. We know that because if that was the case, Yitzhak would have picked up on it visually. Others would have picked up on it, but he tricked people. That was his whole sketch. Because he was a trickster. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen v'Amen.